something happened with the first one. I tried to go live and just something dumb. The screen didn't want to rotate properly. Screen didn't want to rotate properly, and so yeah, here we are. Take two. I'll probably do at least one more of these tonight, so if you're watching this after the fact and you're like, damn, I wish I would have just caught that live, despite the fact that he gave zero notice or warning that a live video was coming. Rest assured, if you pay attention, there will probably be another one. I'm going to guess somewhere between 10, 11-ish, so stay tuned for that. Basically, today all I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be kit bashing the next couple corn Kroot. So what we've got here is we've got some bloodletters, and we've got some brand new on sprue Kroot, and we're going to be smashing those together with some green stuff to make some more Kroot bloodletters. And while I'm doing that, I'm just going to be kind of casually talking about my thoughts on the World Eater Codex. As everybody knows, I'm a big World Eater fan and player, as well as all the Kroot stuff. And I just recently played my first game with the new Codex and kind of got a feel for it and how everything works with the new rules and kind of some of the new units and whatnot. I just got my first unit of 8-bound the other day. I haven't put them together yet or anything, but that'll be pretty fun and exciting when we get there. So, the first thing that we got to do is, one, I got to get all my proper stuff out. We got our glue, knife, we've got some brand new green stuff, we've got just some basic sculpting tools. When I'm doing a whole unit of something, I'm not really too concerned with having the absolute most amazing best quality. Of course, we've got some good cork to make a little bit more interesting bases. So first thing we gotta do is these guys have to come off of their bases because the bloodletter bases are bigger than the Kroot ones, so these are the bases that we need. I'm gonna take my knife and kind of gently saw off the legs. Hey Penguin, nice to see you. Sorry about no warning for this. It was just kind of spur of the moment. But there will be at least one more tonight as well. If you're not sleeping, you can hang out. So if you weren't here at the start, Penguin, what I'm doing is I'm making some more Kroot bloodletters. So I'm going to be smashing bloodletter parts together with some brand new Kroot sprues. So the first thing I do is take these old bloodletters off their sprues, and then I need their arms. Give me your arms. I think this will be easier actually if I just take my little clippers and just kind of break them at the shoulders. Always up to watch. Getting notifications. Oh yeah, that was a pretty clean break. The way the bloodletter arms attach, it's not like a smooth connection. They've got like a weird it's like hollowed out in the middle. Like I'm not sure. They really wanted them to have a sturdy connection, it seems. So they're kind of a pain to separate, actually. But anyways, we can just break this guy off again. And now I'll be using the torsos and legs from these guys to make more Kroot demonettes. So what I was doing originally, Penguins, maybe you can give your thoughts on this. So see this guy here, I was starting to do it. It's not really gonna I'll flip it around the other way in a minute and show you more what I'm working on. But what I was doing originally is I was going all out and I was like trimming off the middle finger and the end finger and then green stuffing the fourth finger so that it was like a Kroot hand. How they have like they've got like no pinky and they've got a second thumb. So they got like 2 thumbs and 2 fingers. And so I was full on taking these bloodletter hands and making them into Kroot hands like that. I did that on the first one and I was like, holy shit, that's a lot of work even to do that on 10 models. So I was like, you know what? I can live with them just having normal bloodletter hands. Yeah, see, for a character model, I do that. For a whole unit of infantry, that's too much, I think. So, I'm fine to leave that part off. So, anyways, the next part of what we do. So we got our bloodletter hand separated, one normal hand, the one sword hand. Now I just gotta make. I just gotta build a Kroot. Kind of notoriously not the nicest kit in the world to put together. The thing too I've been doing a lot is messing with the poses. It does take some work, but with some work you can, like, all the Kroot legs are kind of this, just like kind of walking pose. Nothing really too different there, unless you were to use like the new Farstalker kit. But with a little bit of work, a little bit of green stuff, you can get some more interesting poses. I'm also going to use a open-mouthed Kroot head, and I'm going to give him the long bloodletter tongue. I think that'll be pretty cool. I'm just going to set this over here in case I want any more bits from that. So, just going to trim these off. And then, yeah, I was going to just kind of start chatting about my thoughts on the World Eater Codex now that I've played a game with it. And I gotta say, I do quite like it. Everything. No, I would want to say too, nothing really felt broken or overpowered. At least I don't have Angron yet, but I played with Lord Invocatus. It was a 2,000 point game. I had Lord Invocatus. I had a normal Juggernaut Lord. And I gave him the Berserker Glaive. I had a Demon Prince with wings, and I gave him the sword. Oh, and I had a guy. I ran my Master of Executions as Karn, and so I pretty much had every HQ from the book other than Angron, and then I think I had 20 Berserkers, 5 Terminators, couple rhinos. I did have the Land Raider, couple Hell Brutes. Just kind of a decent mix of stuff. I don't think I took any of the Defilers. So I guess I didn't have any demon engines in the list. But overall, I have to say it felt like everything kind of did about what you'd expect from it. Everything kind of did its job, but nothing seemed like crazy broken, crazy overpowered. I could see how, in a perfect situation, how the Lord Invocatus's move 2 units pre-game could get out of hand. I could see that, but I think that's only really if you go first. If you don't get first turn, you're not getting that 2, potentially 3 units charging turn 1 Alpha Strike. And so if you're not getting that, like, he himself is not that broken. Like, his combat is like okay, it's nothing like mind-blowing. And the pregame move is good, like you can hide stuff with it if you don't go first turn, but that's not like game breaking or anything. It's not game breaking to hide 2 units behind terrain a little better or something. So yeah, I kind of, he seemed fine for what he is. It didn't seem broken to me. What else? Yeah, there's only a handful of stratagems, very, very few stratagems. They're all like impactful and powerful in their own way, but again, like, they're good. There's only a couple. I don't think they're too crazy. Yeah, I don't know if there's really... It's a very simple codex. There's not a whole ton to say. I would say some standout things. One thing that surprised me was how good the regular Lord on Juggernaut with that Berserker Glaive relic is. He just has so many attacks. He has so many attacks base, and then the Glaive can give like exploding hits on 6s. And then I think there's... I don't remember if it was a strat or so. There was something where I think I got him to do mortal wounds too. And that was... He was good. Like, he did surprisingly well. I think I missed a comment there, sorry. I played one game against it, and the lack of stratagems was rough. I noticed when people bring up the book, they don't talk about Karn. Is he not good? Karn is... He's kind of weird. He's got... the thing with the World Eaters characters is, it's like they are just good at fighting. Other than Lord Invocatus, they're just good at fighting, and it's not like they have like layers and layers of rules. Not like they give tons of buffs or tons of weird things. Like I think Karn gives like reroll ones to hit for core, maybe, or it might be ones to wound. It's nothing too crazy, and he is very killy, but he's only really killy against like Space Marine equivalent models. Like if his perfect world would be to just bounce from 5-man squad of Space Marines to 5-man squad of Space Marines, and he will kill 5-man squads of Space Marines all day long. But if he has to fight 10 guardsmen, there's a pretty good chance that 1 or 2 of those guardsmen will live, and then he's stuck for a turn and he can't fight. If he gets into any like reasonably tough vehicle, even like a big dreadnought or something, he'll probably struggle to kill that too. Like something that has like, you know, if God forbid if it was like T8 -1 damage, he's not going to beat that. He might, and he's not tough at all. He's like 6 wounds, just like a normal 4-up invuln or whatever. So like a dreadnought kills him in 2 punches or whatever. So he's good at killing Space Marines, and that's kind of it. So when I was playing against Imperial Guard, and basically he charged in and he killed an already wounded Lord Solar or whatever he's called, like the big guard HQ on the horse thing. And then he spent the rest of the game just kind of like struggling to smash through guardsmen. So like I don't even know if I don't think he really even killed like his points worth of stuff, because his axe is like, he's got a big axe, but it's like strength 7. I hate things that are strength 7, because it's like you either need to get to strength 8 or more, or just stay down at like strength 5. Like strength 7, it's like there's so few things that's ideal against. So yeah, he would smash through Space Marines no problem, because he wound them on 3s, unless they did transhuman. If they did transhuman, he'd be kind of screwed too. But he's got like, I think like 9 or I think he has 10 attacks on the charge. It's like strength 7, AP 4, damage 3, right through Space Marines. But it's like not, if he's a 10-man guard squad, if he misses on even 1 attack or fails to wound 1 attack, then that guard squad's going to live, even if they have to auto pass morale. That's pretty good value for them. So I think he's okay. Maybe he could be a little bit cheaper. Maybe people would bring him more, because he's kind of expensive. Like for example, if you had him at his points, and then you took the Master of Executions and you gave him that Berserker Glaive relic that gives exploding 6s to hit, they would be kind of the same. And if anything, I think the guy with the Berserker Glaive might be better, because I think it would only be at 2 damage, but he would end up having more attacks, and it would be at strength 8. So I think on average he would actually be kind of fightier than Karn, and he's less than half the points. So yeah, I think he's okay, but I think he needs to be cheaper. I think that's his problem. I think he should be, I think he's like 150-ish points, give or take 10. I think he could go down like 20 points, honestly, and it would be okay. Because the other characters are so good, I don't know if you would still see him like a ton. Anyways, where was I? I need to be converting here. But yeah, so like I said, the regular Lord on Juggernaut, which I don't think anybody's really taking, was kind of surprisingly good. And then because I did not get first turn, Invocatus was the way everybody was hyping him up, I thought he was going to be kind of like the all-star of every game. And then in my game, at least, he didn't really do a whole lot, because I didn't get that first turn. So that was kind of surprising. What I'm doing right now is I'm kind of just like gently bending the legs to get a more interesting shape here. Kind of wanted this guy to be like, I've done it before where I've made a jumping crew, and it does to kind of take quite a bit of effort with these legs, so I don't know if I'm going to go quite that far, but I was kind of thinking about it. Maybe. Oh, I missed the message. What was that? I hear a lot about Corn Dog. One thing I like about T-Suns is Arma is actually insane. I have to say it feels good. Yeah, I think I like Arma better than Magnus usually. Not that I have a ton of experience with Thousand Suns, but just like the bit that I've looked at them. I don't know if I ever told you this, Penguin, but did I ever tell you that I have like a fully planned out Kitbash Thousand Suns project that I just haven't got to yet? Like that it's on my to-do list eventually to do a Thousand Suns army. I always forget, like, because you're such a big fan of them. You'd probably be you'd probably be hyped for that. Yeah, ooh, yeah. Oh, fuck. I just broke his toes off. Ah! No! Oh, a nightmare situation, boys. You won't believe what just fell down. Oh, I'm never gonna find this. Oh my god, I did. I found it. I found it. I don't know if you can even see that. I dropped two individual Kroot toes fell off the table. It was almost disaster. I almost was just gonna have to like green stuff those from scratch. 0 out of 10 would not recommend. Oop. And then my super glue is like kind of exploded a little bit. That's okay though. It's okay as long as we got the toes back. Okay, I think that's good. If you want variety, don't play T-Suns. Well, see, like as a fact, it would be variety for me because I don't have, I don't have any psychic in any of my armies whatsoever. Not even one model that can be a psyker. So just the very idea of having a psyker in an army of mine would be kind of different. So be a whole new phase of the game for me that I haven't played in a long time. Probably the last time I played any sort of psychic stuff was when I had my big Tyranid army. Probably. The good old days. Which I still think about sometimes. I still think about going back to Tyranids at some point. Oh, but so I was going to tell you. Okay, sorry. So we did make a slightly more interesting pose. Here, I'll put the camera around so you guys can see a little bit better. Come here. There we go. So, with just a little bit of bending and then some repurposing of the you cut the middle toes. You just cut a little chunk out right there, and then you can kind of bend those toes up, and then you can either smooth that little rough spot out with green stuff, or you could just you can just hide it with like a little bit of mud paint or like your texture paint, and it lets you have a little bit more of a running pose, like he's kind of kicking off a rock. And you could do that with the other foot too, to some interesting ways. Just like a tiny little thing like that can just kind of mix up the poses a little bit, because otherwise they end up kind of all standing the same way. But anyways, Frig, what was I saying? Oh, the Thousand Suns army. So what I was going to do is I was going to make like space necromancers, basically a space necromancer army. And just utilize a ton of Age of Sigmar death models. And basically, because the Thousand Sons are kind of undead anyway, or at least the Rubric Marines are. Basically, I was gonna have like a small like elite core of actual Thousand Sons, and then the majority of the army would be cool, like resurrected undead, Xenos monsters or humans or Space Marines or whatever. And I was going to use a ton of the Age of Sigmar death models to do that, because there's so many weird, big Xenos monsters and aliens in 40k anyway. It's not a stretch at all. Like, if you wanted to use something like, what's the Terrorgeist is the big, like, bat monster from AOS. Like, if you wanted to use that as a Helldrake, which I think was one of my ideas, like, there could easily be some giant, and actually I think in one of the Warhammer Plus contents there was a giant bat alien. And then I was going to use like the cool like Spirit Wraith guys that they have a whole army of in Age of Sigmar. Those would have been like the Zangors or whatever. Yeah, stuff like that. Between the Spirit Wraith guys being Zangors, and then maybe like actual skeletons holding like Astra Militarum las rifles and stuff, could be like the cultists or whatever, with autoguns and stuff like that. So it was going to be it was like all the demon engines would be big skeleton monsters, and all the little guys would be like the infantry stuff. And so I was thinking I'd have like airmen or Armen, and maybe like 2 other sorcerers, no Magnus, and then maybe I like the Terminators a lot, so like 10 of them, and then maybe like 10, 15, 20-ish rubrics, and then that's it. And then all the other stuff be like cool undead stuff, and have cool like, undead, swirly energy things coming off of everybody, and just a good time for everybody involved. That's kind of in lore too. I remember reading several bits of Black Library stuff where there's like warp ghosts. So as far as like the spirity things, like those are definitely a thing. Half my T-Sons are real and half are painted like ghosts. Yeah, so perfect. Well, because I've seen a bunch of people do that kind of paint scheme for Thousand Sons already, right? Where they do, I think that's maybe what you're talking about too, where you paint them so that they're like spectrally. So, anyways, interesting. That was an idea I've had for a while, kicking around, that I just never got to. So many other things to do, right? Now we're on Crew Army number 2. Didn't think this through very well. I don't have any water to wet my hands with here. I'm gonna have to just pour a little tiny bit into my little glue cup here until I get something better in a minute. But basically, I'm just mixing up a little tiny bit of green stuff, and this will just be for between attaching the arms, and then on the crew head, I'll be attaching some of these bloodletter horns, maybe for the tongue as well. This is the best green stuff I've had in a while. The last like 3 packages I've bought. I don't know if you've ever experienced this, Penguin. The yellow half of the green stuff, like on either side of it, it's like there was like a hard layer, and I don't know if that's something to do in the manufacturing process. They've got like some sort of a chemical or something that was doing that, but it was only the yellow half, and like the middle of it would be good and usable, but on either side of it there was like a hard, crunchy coating, and there wasn't really any good way to like, you couldn't like peel it off, like it, because it was breakable. So like you couldn't like just peel the whole thing off. You would just like get a little bit and a little bit and a little bit, So what I ended up having to do with that whole strip of green stuff is every time I wanted to use green stuff, I'd have to mix up a bunch of it and then sit there and pick out all the crunchy yellow parts that couldn't mix in. And then even still, there would always be a little bit of it left in there, so I could never get just like a really nice smooth little ball. To be honest, if you go look at a bunch of my recent green stuff things, if you zoom right in, they even look. I'm no pro green stuffer, and I won't spend 5 hours like smoothing it all out perfectly and sanding it. I just do it till it looks passable. But if you zoom right in, some of them you can see like little like crunchy spots where that stuff was still in it and I didn't get it out. I know it's a sin, but don't you don't buy that much green stuff. Well, you have access to 3D printing technology, right? I think you 3D printed a bunch of stuff, and then you were making the cool flame effects out of hot glue, which was a good idea. I've been mixing this for way longer than I need to. Just gonna start making these guys up now. Now, before I just start sticking them on, whoever put these arms together did not care about mold lines, so I'm just gonna smooth those bad boys out. Did you happen to see, Penguins, that there's going to be the first Average Joe product review coming up? I don't know if you saw that yet on the Patreon there, and it might result in a little giveaway as well, which of course you guys on there will be entered in first. Basically, there's sorry, I saw you had a message there. I'll just one sec. There's this guy, I've talked to him lots. He's actually one of my favorite accounts on Instagram. Really inspiring dude. Actually, and because you like chaos, so maybe you might find some stuff on there that you like too. Anyway, his account is called Lord of Skulls, and he's always really big into kit bashing. He's made a ton of awesome Lord of Skulls conversion, funny enough. Anyway, I've been following him for a long time, and then so he's just started. He's got his own little web store now, or like a cults page, like a 3D file page and whatever. He started making like extra helmets and stuff for World Eaters units. The first set he did was for 8-bound, and the second set he's doing now is for Terminators, and they look really, really good. And so he reached out and was like, hey, can I just send you a full set of these, which I believe is, I think it's 8, and then he did an extra 3. So I think it's going to be 11 heads, and what they are is really cool. So if you buy the new 8-bound kit, which they don't have any helmet options, which is something that kind of was sad about with the new kit, they just perfectly snap on. So you can just interchange them, or you could just pop them on. You can still use the normal heads and just pop this little mask over top. So he sent me a whole set of them, and so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to do like a nice little like review video for him, and hopefully get him like a little bit more business. And then I don't need that many heads. I'm probably only, at most, I think I'm going to probably have 5 of the 8-bound. So what I might do is then just give away the extra ones in just a little thing. It might just be for you guys on the Patreon, or I might open it up to everybody. But yeah, so they're pretty cool. I don't know if you have any use for some extra like kind of corn space or Chaos Marine helmets, but that's what they are. And they are really well done. They do look very, very good. I like them. I like them a lot. I like them a lot to the point where I was probably gonna buy them anyway before he reached out. So I was like, sick. I will be more than happy to promote your your things, my friend. I was doing it anyway. Actually, I don't know how much you watch my stories and stuff on Instagram, but I think I've shown them off on there quite a bit. My 3D print has fallen on hard times, so until he gets back on his feet, I can't 3D print. I do Zinch, but I like anything that's not Nurgle. Brother, same. Yeah, Nurgle's by far my least favorite. That's funny. Because it seems like we're the minority. It seems like they're a very, very popular Chaos faction, which, they're by far the least appealing to me. Like, I don't vibe with their aesthetic at all. Like, that would be for sure the Chaos God that would have the hardest time convincing me to join. Just look like a freaking smelly fart monster for the rest of your life. No, thank you. What was that? Everyone likes Nurgle, but I just don't like the aesthetic. Yeah, same. Like, it's not for me. I don't know. They are, in my opinion, they are a perfect enemy. I would love to fight them. The models look very good, but I don't like them, is kind of how I see it. Like, if I had a friend that played Nurgle, that would be a sweet enemy to have. But I don't, that's an enemy, that's not like when we're like, oh, you know, the bad guys have all the cool stuff, like in Star Wars or, you know, really most things. That is not the case with them. That is definitely not the cool stuff. Don't understand why so many people like them. But power to them. It is kind of a sin, though, I'm sure you'll agree, how few things the Thousand Suns and the World Eaters got versus how much stuff the Smelly Boys got. And like, if I have to pick, if it's my favorite, you know, God-specific Chaos Legion, it's World Eaters, and then Thousand Suns, and then pretty far down, honestly, is Emperor's Children. I don't really like them that much either, but they're like okay. And then way at the bottom is Nurgle, and Nurgle's the one that got everything, and I'm like, fuck. So basically all I've done here is just went ahead and attack. I did go so far as to remove that middle digit. Here, I'll put this over for a second and show you. It never works the first time I click the button. There we go. I did remove the middle digit. When that green stuff dries a little better, I might smooth that out further. Oop. Looks like that mold line is still kind of nasty. I thought I shaved that down, but now that I'm seeing it zoomed in, not so much. The crew arms are quite a bit smaller than Bloodletter arms. Like, so these, when you put these on them, that really makes them look like jacked. Almost Gene Stealer like they look like kind of too big for the body, which kind of because I wanted these guys, like each of these little Kroot warbands or Kroot kindreds that I'm making, like they've definitely each fallen to the respective Chaos God, but I don't want any of them to have none of them have fallen like too far, you know what I mean? Like my Slaanesh Kroot, it's not like they all, you know, it's not like I was green stuff sculpting butt plugs in every one of them, and, you know, when I do the Nurgle ones, I really didn't want to have to do, like, crazy, like, you know, pimples and warts and things all over them, and, So I wanted their corruption to be like kind of in the minor stages still, I guess. So these are just like these are corn Kroot. They're gonna play as bloodletters, but really they're just Kroot that are more warlike, and they're kind of obsessed with battle, obsessed with having the perfect prey, the perfect hunt, perfect enemies. You know, that's what they're craving. They're craving stronger foes and tougher enemies and things. That sort of stuff. It's not like they're literally just like full on blood for the blood god quite yet. They'll get there, but just not quite yet. I also really need to invest in some of the silicone sculpting tools. I've been using these metal ones for a long time, and they're alright, but they definitely, for some of the fine detail stuff, you want those smooth, the smooth touch of like a softer tool. But I'm gonna have to head back down in a minute. I am working right now. I'm on a break. I have the smooth tools for pottery and they're great. Yeah, I was just looking at them on Amazon. I've been using these metal ones forever. I had one soft one for a while and then I lost it. So I really need to, never mind me licking the tool. Savage. Yeah, I really need to invest in one, especially if I'm going to be doing this the amount that I am. Water is huge too. Like if you don't keep that green stuff moist, it starts going tacky so quick. Real quick before I go, penguins, I don't know if you've seen it. Speaking of good green stuff work, there's a crazy guy who, you know, the McFarlane like action figure Warhammer things they've been making. He's got the McFarlane Gene Stealer toy, and he is basically turning that toy into a giant Bio-Titan hive tyrant, basically. And he's almost done it. If you follow him, I'm forgetting the exact name of the account that's doing it, but I know that Modern Synthesis, the YouTuber and really good Tyranid and green stuff sculptor in general, I know that he just recently shouted him out like on his story and stuff, so maybe go to his account to find him. But it's pretty insane the work this guy's doing, because you know, even just a Gene Stealer and a hive tyrant, quite different shapes, and then to do it on that scale is pretty insane. And it's looking really good so far. I think he just was getting like the back carapace done recently, but I have to leave off there. Maybe I'll do one last thing. I'm just gonna put the tongue in the mouth real quick. So I just shaved off the Kroot tongue, adding a bloodletter one. Bloodletters have such good tongues. Sounds a little bit weird to say. There we go. I wasn't gonna do the whole bloodletter horns on every single one of these guys because it honestly does take a lot of work. But because this guy has the tongue, I think it's not bad. I think it is not bad. So that will be Kroot bloodletter number 3. I'm probably gonna add like the shoulder pads and stuff, but he is mostly done. So pretty cool. Hopefully I'll get a couple more done tonight. Gonna let him sit there to dry, and I will be back with another live at some point tonight. Adios, friends.